theDopeOnes podcast is proud to be a part of the BEHEARD podcast platform. BEHEARD is a media and creative-based nonprofit organization geared towards giving underutilized voices an outlet to showcase their talent and share their opinion. BEHEARD features a wide range of podcasts centered on sports, black culture, business, lifestyle, and social justice. With podcasts including The Podcast with Damian Barling, The Deuce and Mo Podcast, J Street Vibes, Bill Black, Sean and Vaughn, Snack Time with Mac and Ash, Watching the Tape, Hoop Ball, and of course, the theDopeOnes podcast. Follow us on IG at BEHEARD Platform and check out all the great podcasts under the BEHEARD umbrella.
It's a gift for which we have been given, so my presence will be felt every single day that I'm living.
Peace, power. What's good? You are now tapped in to another episode of the theDopeOnes podcast, a part of the BEHEARD podcast platform. I am Don is Dope, creator of the theDopeOnes, and we are back on the red couch, coming to you straight from Sacramento, California. You can follow me at Don is Dope. You can follow the theDopeOnes at theDopeOnes Official. Shop with us, check us out. We got a lot of new pieces out right now. Salute to everybody who's involved with the Vote Like You Like Depends on the campaign. My brother Damien, Deuce and Mo, the Sacramento youth, and my guest this evening, one of the hardest working men in Sacramento. He is a native of Sacramento. He is the co-host of the D-Lo and KC show on ESPN on the radio.com app. He is also the co-host of J Street Vibes, which is on the BEHEARD podcast platform as well. And he's the host of KC's Corner on Sacramento's #1 community station, 97.5 KDEE. He is none other than the good brother, Kenny KC Caraway, on the theDopeOnes podcast.
Kenny,
What's good, bro?
What's good, my bro?
It's nothing on that Niners hat, man. Come on now. Come on now. Ooh.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't even watch football like that, but I'm still a Niners fan. I'm still repping for Cap. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I still got a place in my heart for the Niners, you know what I'm saying? I know I see you every day, man, with the struggle, man, every week.
Man, it's rough right now. I don't know what the hell's going on out here, man. Come on.
Bro, we going to get into that too, man, because I want to talk to you about like just sports in general right now with the pandemic and everything. But first of all, my brother, thank you for being on my show. Thank you, you know what I'm saying? For jumping on here. Appreciate you.
Pleasure is all mine, man. For real, man. I love what you do with the DopeOnes, man. So
thank you,
pleasure's all mine,
thank
man.
You.
For real.
Hey, man, I'm inspired by your grind, your work ethic, man. You out here, my bro. We're gonna get into everything, man. So let's jump right into it.
All right,
Kenny, we here, man. We election 2020. It's just the elephant in the room. I don't mean to just hit the ground running, but man. We right here, brother. I just want to get your thoughts just off the cuff, man. How are you feeling right now?
Man, you know, I'm a Biden supporter, Biden-Harris supporter, so I'm feeling good about that right now, man. It was looking bleak. What's the little meme or whatever where the little high school football player was like, in the first half, y'all had me, but you know, we got that's how I was.
Bro, the memes have been endless, y'all.
Oh man, Twitter and Instagram, they've come through in the clutch to get the comment.
Seriously.
But man, I thought it's funny because I'm gonna give you a little bit of a detailed answer here. So I went back and forth with my mom a lot when they was doing the primary, right? Okay. And I was like, with this whole presidential campaign and everything, to me, it's all about who can inspire the people. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as like winning it, right? So Obama inspired so many people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Some would say in a negative way, you got to call a spade a spade. Trump inspired a lot of people.
No,
And then that's why he got elected last year. Then I looked at this situation and I was like, man, his contingency is strong. If you want to beat him, you gotta be able to inspire some people. And I felt like I looked at my mom and her age, she's, 50 plus, right? 50 and up. They looked at it as, they come from a different era, like Democrat, that's what we're doing. This guy, he got the Obama rub. So, he's good. He gets Kamala, we're good.
Yeah.
You have to vote for him. And people my age, and younger, like 35 and below, it was like, feeling Biden, bro. Simple as that. Like, we're not feeling him, period. We want Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Like, that's what, that's and I'm speaking like specifically in the Black community, there was a divide. And to me, that's where Hillary lost. Hillary didn't have 18 to 35. It was like, no, we're not feeling you. And if you look into the, and how she lost, they didn't show up and vote. They weren't inspired. So a long-winded way, I go back and forth with my mom. I was like, man, Bernie is the guy y'all should have picked, because these young people, they're not feeling Biden. They're not going to show up again. And I kept telling her, I was like, you can't win, man. You can't win because they're not inspired by him. And she didn't understand that. And I don't think a lot of people in her age group really understood that. And they were just like, no, you guys got to do it. You got to do it. And I'm like, they're not feeling them. So that worried me for a long time. And it looked like it was manifesting itself at the beginning of the night on election night. But, I'm going to just say, I'm just going to keep it a stack with you, Don. We as Black people, we showed up and we showed out, it looks like. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what turned the tide, I think, once those votes started coming in from the inner cities, like the Atlantas, the Detroits, Phoenix is bubbling, with a lot of Democrats and a lot of Black people moving there.
Arizona, I'm just elated with Arizona, but continue.
Yes. No, yes, but that we showed up, man.
Yes,
we showed
sir.
up and showed the of it. So I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but he's in a good spot right now. As we do this interview right now, he's in a good spot. Yeah. And hopefully they bring it on home, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't have articulated it any better, bro. Like from just Bernie, even, last election in 2016, I was team Bernie, unequivocally.
Yeah.
He was robbed. He should have been the Democratic nominee, but he's too on the socialist side,
Yeah.
But what you said is so true about generating energy. Energy is everything.
Yeah.
And as much as I hate to say it, but I agree with you. Trump's energy, it was through the roof for his base. You know what I mean?
He inspired people, man.
It was like dark energy though, but it was still energy.
It was for all the wrong reasons. But I mean, at its core, he inspired people, and they came out and they showed up and they showed out for him, and they almost did it again this year. But
oh no, they did do it again this year.
Yeah.
They did.
No, you're right. You're right.
These results are very telling. They speak volumes about this country.
Mm-hmm.
But again, to reiterate with the utmost, enthusiasm, Black people came to the polls in historic numbers. Like they beat, the Obama 2008 election. You know, and
the numbers they talking about in Philly. That's another interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, showed up, man.
In Atlanta too. I mean, shout out to Stacey Abrams, because
Atlanta
love
turned that whole thing around.
Yeah.
It's crazy what's going on in Atlanta. They might turn that whole thing around.
They might turn the whole state. He might flip that Georgia to blue too. I'm hoping. Man, oh man,
crazy, man. I think I saw some. I'm not like this political dude or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But moments you start to hear stuff, you read up on stuff.
Right.
I think they show something, and I don't know where it's going to end up, but they said Georgia hasn't been blue since like the 40s, the 30s or 40s or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Like to your point, man, showed up, man. Atlanta, Fulton County, all that stuff, Cobb County, they showed up, man.
Yeah,
and that's where we at, so. Yeah,
and honestly, like just with, from being pro Bernie, like you said, our age, 30 and under, he connected. I mean, Killer Mike was, at his rallies. Like,
Yes.
he was sitting down with Cardi B. Like, he really, but it was genuine though.
Right.
Bernie doesn't pander. He doesn't pander.
Yeah.
He's genuine.
Absolutely.
And he still has his pulse on what the real needs, I feel like, of the country are. And just like you, I was really like skeptical about Joe Biden and what his real agenda was. And then, he had, a checkered past, and, people forget, like, he was going kind of hard at Barack when they were, all, running, I mean, in 2008. But at the same time, he does have that cosign. And as the campaign has progressed, I've grown a lot more fond of Joe Biden. Like, I feel like he's a good man. He ain't perfect. He's from the old school. He's an old white man with old white ideals. However, he is progressive. He's willing to sit down. He's willing to have the dialogue and genuinely like take it in. And then, electing Kamala as his running mate didn't hurt him. You know what I mean? And I know people feel how they feel about her too, but you can't, overstate the fact that she is a Black woman who's very qualified, who looks very presidential, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And I, like you, my brother, I'm not no political, guru, but I think since Trump got elected, I couldn't help but be more tapped in. With Obama, it was just party time. Oh, this is my president forever. We good.
Right.
And I was
playing everywhere.
Dude, I was in DC when Barack was elected.
Man.
I tell you, just imagine the craziest block party, just love,
It's funny you mentioned that, man. I was just talking to my fiance last night about the 2 days where Obama got elected the first time. And I was in Oakland at the time. And I'll never forget the day of the election. I mean, there was so much anticipation. There was so much excitement.
Yeah.
And just, I went to work that day, but I was in downtown Oakland, right? And it was a buzz, right? It was just a buzz. I went to the gas station. It was a buzz. Like, people were like, this is going to happen tonight. It actually happens. And everybody's so happy and joyous and everything. And it's so great. And then I remember the next day, people waking up and it's like, no, this really happened, right? You know what I'm saying? This really happened. They had like a magazine stand or newsstand where down the street from where I worked in downtown Oakland. And I mean, there was just a line of, Black people coming, trying to get a newspaper, and everybody was so happy and so positive that next day. I'll never forget that. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, man, just if that, I'm not sure I'll ever see it on that level again. Right. But I know if Biden can pull this off, I think there's going to be a lot of relief, man. A lot of relief that Trump's not in office, got this done. And hopefully I take from that people look at it as, all right, we got that taken care of. Now it's time to get to work for real. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I hope people get out of this.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm trying to take the high road and stay optimistic. However, that energy, that emboldened white supremacy energy, let's just call it what it is. Unfortunately, that's not going anywhere. You know? And we got to figure out a way to either coexist, or there's going to be more, conflict brewing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that really, that concerns me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And not only that, like, that's unfortunately not going to go anywhere, but the problems that we still face are not going anywhere either, unless there's like policy involved, like real policy that, affects us, like Black businesses and schools and, prison population, disproportionate incarceration, all of that, systemic racism. It all needs to be put on the table, and people need to be held, to their promises. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm just, I'm like I said, I'm hoping for the best. I'm staying positive, but we got a long road ahead of us. You know what I mean?
No, that's I'm on the same page, man. That's why I said, like, if this is able to be pulled off, man, that's just one part of the job, man. We got a lot of work to do. Like you said, I agree with you 100% as far as holding these people accountable to their promises that they're making. I like you, I wasn't necessarily feeling Biden like I didn't have no problem with him, but I was looking at him, with a side eye a little bit. And Matt Barnes did a quick interview with him that he put on his Instagram. I saw it for the first time yesterday.
Okay.
And it was the first time I heard Biden speak, and I really I liked what he was saying. He was talking about, first of all, he acknowledged the wrongs from the crime bill. You know what I'm saying? I know he kind of did it before, but he said, man, that was one of the biggest mistakes in my career. And I'm trying to re-up that. And that goes a long way for a lot of people, man. You know, instead of like trying to brush it to the side or, you know, dismiss it like, oh, that was a long time ago. You know, sometimes there's nothing you can do about the past. You can't go back in the past, but sometimes an acknowledgement and a simple, I'm sorry for, you know, I made a mistake, that can go a long way. So hearing him say that, then he talked about, you know, things about helping, you know, people in the inner city, helping Black people get home loans, and because that's the quickest way to get to wealth. Getting into college, you know, taking tuition down, or, you know, if you make a certain amount or less than a certain amount, you know, having your tuition paid for and things like that. Just really talk, like, you really focused on the Black agenda. And I'm not ashamed to say, I mean, I'm Black. That affects me. I got a son that's 7. That affects me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I'm going to be locked into that. And that was just the first time I really heard him speak on that level. You know, you didn't get much out of the debates because there's a bunch of stuff going back and forth, and he really got to speak and explain kind of where his thought process was. Then I like that. And to the point that you talked about before, it sounds great. I love it. And if you can get in there, I'm like, remember the things you talked about. Let's put it into action now. You know what I'm saying? So it's only part 1 if we can get him in there.
Yeah. Definitely. And I agree with you. Like, you know, a lot of the things that he has said on this campaign trail, they have connected. And, you know, I mean, the bar was pretty low with Trump, you know what I mean? But at the same time, Biden, he just comes off really genuine. You know, it's not pandering, which a lot of politicians do. It feels really genuine. But, you know, there's definitely a sense of urgency, you know, not only in the Black community, but just in the country as a whole, but specifically in the Black community.
Absolutely.
There are a laundry list of, you know, issues and just things that have to be addressed now. And it's, you know, just to touch on the whole Ice Cube situation, you know, I couldn't just write Ice Cube off. You know, he got a lot of flack for that. And I was even kind of looking at him with the side eye, but I had to take a step back and just realize, you know, Ice Cube is somebody who is unapologetically Black and is absolutely passionate about his people, you know, and he's been that way. This isn't anything new. He's sprinkled gems all throughout his career, music, movies, etc., you know, but he comes from a perspective of no matter who's been in, the system hasn't really worked for us. So whoever's willing to sit down, I'll take them up on that. I mean, but what he didn't fully realize is that Trump is just going to use him for a prop. You know, but you can't knock him because his intentions were good. Like, they were genuine. It wasn't for clout. It was a genuine. The contract with Black America. It's real, and it's definitely a conversation and something that needs to be put on the table. It's just Trump ain't the one. You know what I mean?
Nah. I felt the same way, man. Like, I was disappointed in Cube, but like you said, man, he's done too much for me to just be like, you know, you're in the same boat as a Kanye or Wayne. That's not who Cube is.
No,
that's not who he ever been. He's got enough equity built up in what he's done in the community in his career for me to be like, nah, let me just show you. He made a mistake. He got played. I wouldn't even say he made a mistake. He got played. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, instead of just saying like, man, he got me or he played me, kind of, you know, try to, just like anybody would probably do, you defend yourself and you defend your actions, kind of dig yourself a little bit of a deeper hole or something like that. But no, I'm with you, man. I'm stalling out Cube on that one, man, because he's done too much, man. His resume is too long for the things that he's done and that he stood for over his career. So I chalked that one up to a mistake. But like you said, I think his mind and his heart was in the right place. And I hope, you know, he continue. I hope this doesn't deter him from, you know, doing those type of things in the future. He's in there with Biden and stuff like that. Hope, like we just talked about, hold their feet to the fire. Cube, go back up there. Yo, I need you guys. This is what this guy said he was going to do, whether he was really going to do it or not. He said he was. He's not there. You're here. What you going to do about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd like to see more of that. But Yeah, man, I'm with you, man. Cube, he definitely gets a pass on. I was disappointed, but he definitely gets a pass as far as, cancel culture and all that. I don't really get into that, but
Right.
he definitely not somebody that should be canceled, in my opinion.
No. And I mean, I knew right away where he was coming from. I knew right away that, the passion and the fervor for it was like he's sitting down looking everyone right in their eyes. Like, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like Cube is not bullshitting. But just the fact, again, that it's Trump and just how toxic he is, which is exactly why we got to get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Facts.
And it's exactly why I'm so happy to see that there has been such a big, turnout. And even in my small, little way, like, with the vote, like your life depends on the campaign that we all came together for.
Yeah,
Shout out to
all matters,
everyone
man.
involved. You know what I mean? Shout out to Damien and Morgan for putting that together. You coming out and everybody. Like that really meant a lot to me, because it's about the sentiment, it's about the message. And for the young, for the youth of Sacramento to come behind that, that's where the push happens. That's where the dialogue and the change starts to happen. And that's what needs to happen in the wake of such demagoguery, bigoted, white supremacist, presidency that we've been living with. Not to mention put all of us at risk with a pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I don't want to go on and on about the politics, but it's just something that I've been really passionate about, especially in the past year. With as much as we've seen going on this year, I mean, it's really what like inspired me to start the podcast. You know what I'm saying? And again, shout out to BEHEARD, because you guys, it's a primarily sports podcast, and we're gonna get into sports too. But I wanted to, come with, just a reflection of what's going on. Let's talk about what's really going on. You know what I mean?
It's nice. It's necessary, man.
It is. Sports is great. Yeah, sports is escapism, but we still got to deal with the issues, and that's what I love about you and Damien. Like, you guys make it a point to speak on what's really going on without being preachy, without being, marginalizing anybody, without being, whatever, like just off-putting. You genuinely express how you feel and what's going on in our communities, and I salute you guys for that.
Yeah, man. Like, I just know me personally, like, I don't hate nobody. I ain't got no ill will for nobody. I hope everybody is the best person they are, no matter their race or gender.
Yes.
But I do know at the end of the day, I'm always going to represent us. I'm always going to stand up for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because I'm a big boxing fan, and I try not to go overboard with it or whatever. But if you watch boxing and the dynamics of it, if you got a Mexican fighter, if you got a Canelo, the Mexican fans, they go hard for Canelo.
Yeah.
They love Canelo.
Yeah.
Felix, Tito Trinidad, Puerto Rican. The Puerto Ricans go hard for Tito. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Fury, the Brits, they go hard for Tyson. Even Anthony Joshua, to a certain degree, they go hard for AJ. But you get the black fighters, and they almost, somebody said it once, they're American fighters, but America don't support them like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I look at it and I'm like, I'm gonna support my black fighters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna support them. Everybody else got the whole world supporting them. I'm gonna support my black fighters. And I use that analogy to like everything we do, my black businesses. I'm gonna support my black businesses.
Yeah.
My man Don, he putting out something. I'm gonna get a t-shirt. I know he a cool dude, and he would look out and he would, hook me up on one. Nah, if I got it, I'm gonna buy one. That's only way this work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't be looking for handouts. If I want him to succeed, I gotta support him like I would Target or Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Or anybody else that I get shirts from. So I just think that's the mentality we gotta have. Like I said, I'm not knocking nobody in their beliefs and how they go about things, but I know I'm gonna look out for my people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure my people are straight, and I'm gonna ride for them. That's just how it goes.
Respect, bro. Respect, because we need much more of a communal, sense of support for one another. And I think there has been a big push for that, especially in the recent months. Unfortunately, it took the world to stop and, take notice to, the George Floyd incident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's nothing new. If you're in the Black community, I mean, Stephen Clark, I want to talk to you about, how that went down and what it kind of means for the city of Sacramento, for something like, the murder of this young Black man, unarmed, they made national news, which was a part of a string of, killings. When was that? It was 2018, right?
2018, yeah.
But it's nothing new, you know what I mean? So if there's some light in all of this darkness, us supporting each other is something that, is much, much, much needed as much as it is from the top getting, support, financial backing from these banks and getting small business loans and this, that, and the third. We also need to be supporting each other.
It's like, and I try not to go overboard without quoting because it's kind of being cliche and, it's timely and stuff, but since he passed, but I mean, it's like Nip said, man, all money in, man.
Bro.
All money in. You know what I'm saying? That's how we gonna get out of this thing. Keep all money in. And that's the way I look at stuff.
No, I quote Nip daily, man, because his legacy, his gems, his blueprint that he left behind. I think that's one thing that is inspiring. It inspired me for sure.
Absolutely.
I know, a lot of other, Black business owners who followed Nip's blueprint because it was so moving. But again, it's like, he should still be here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at least, we could find some silver lining in his passing, that he left a legacy, and we should all take the torch and keep running with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's definitely a huge thing, man. I'm all about, financial freedom in our communities and financial literacy too, which is another thing Nip spoke on. But I wanted to touch on the boxing thing though. Yeah. About it's an interesting point you make about like us not supporting, all our Black boxers. Like I used to hate on Money Mayweather. I'm not even gonna lie. And it's because of who I have right behind me. I got Ali. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
But I got Ali, and he set the bar. He set the standard. Ali. I grew up with Ali in my household because my father's a huge Muhammad Ali fan. So, but it's like, even though Floyd might have been, boastful and outspoken and, flaunting his bread and doing the whole you got to give him credit. Yeah. You got to give him a lot of credit. And I think we still suffer from that crabs in the barrel mentality. Yeah. There's so many things that divide us, whether it be economic, whether it be, where we're from, even our complexion, light versus dark, being color. There's so many things that dice us up, and we need unity. We need to be together. That's the only way we're going to move forward as a unit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It sounds crazy, man, but you got a situation, like I said, I use the boxing as an analogy for a lot of different stuff, right? Just the way it's played out. So you look at Floyd or whatever, and he got with Al Heyman, and for so long in boxing, you had, and I'm not here to not say anything like white devil or I'm not saying that, right? But this is how it went. If you want though. this is how it went, right?
Right.
You have somebody like Bob Arum, who's the promoter, who just kind of makes money, takes money, all the time. And he's got these guys and he takes these fighters and he chews them up and spits them out. And they fight, they make him money, they make him rich. And when they're done, he moves on and he takes another fighter that same way.
Yeah.
And Floyd was under top rank with Bob Arum, and he didn't like the way his career was going on. He said, I don't think you're using me right. I think I could do this better. And he took a chance on himself, bought himself out of the contract and said, I'm going to bet on myself. I can do this better than you can. And he went out. He had a plan for himself. He executed that plan. And I'm personally or whatever, I don't know the man. He's had a couple issues. Don't seem like a saint. But for what he did for his career, it's something that should be applauded. He created his own lane. And his thing was, I'm gonna make the most money I can out here, because for so long these boxers come out broke, and these promoters like Bob Arum take advantage of them. And I'm going to come out with all my faculties. I'm not going to go out here and just bang my head around and be broke. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make money. And when I get done, I'm going to be able to hold a conversation. I'm going to be able to play with my kids. I'm going to be able to play with my grandkids. And I'm still going to be rich. And I love that. And you've got the company PBC, which is Al Heyman. And these guys hate Al Heyman because that's basically what Al Heyman is all about. He's like, look, you guys are going to fight. You're going to know your worth. You're going to make as much money as possible. And you guys are going to be financially literate. And when it's done, you're going to be smart. And that goes against everything boxing's been built on forever. And these guys, they try to, like, within the media, with how they go about things, they try to put these guys in PBC down. And I look at it as it's because this black man is changing the game. And I'm not okay with that. So, you know, you got a situation like, here he goes, Nip again, when he came out with Crenshaw, the Proud to Pay campaign. He's like, hey, if somebody respect what I'm doing, they'll appreciate it, they'll support it. I feel that same way about PBC. All money in, man. Like, look, you guys are doing this. I appreciate what you're doing as a boxing fan and as a black man. You have a pay-per-view. People in the boxing community, the media, they go, oh, pay-per-view, they're stealing money. Nah, I'm gonna pay my $75 because this I see the bigger picture of what this man is trying to do. I'm gonna pay my $75 and I'm gonna support them, and that's what that is. And that's, you see that all around, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you use boxing as a euphemism as everything that's going on. Dame's doing something. If, you know, my man with shoes or music or something like that, I'm a support, because that's the only way. At the end of the day, in the bigger picture, that's the only way we all gonna get to where we want to get, is if we keep that money in, if we support each other, and we build each other up economically. In my opinion, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, it's just boxing, but sometimes it becomes a little bigger for me, man.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Build Black. Yes. Shout out to Damien. Shout out to the new podcast, man. Build Black, though, because that is exactly what we have to do. We have to build our own foundation. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's been ripped from us. And we've had the Black Wall Streets, and we've had the surge in you know, businesses and just, you know, communal situations, but it all somehow, I mean, even hip hop, hip hop was taken from us pretty much. You know what I mean? Like BT, Jet magazine, you know what I mean? We could go on and on. So we have to keep control of our dollars and know how valuable the Black dollar is. Yeah. And the only way we do that is if we build it up, you know, because we control so much currency, you know, but we're so quick to give it back. Right. You know what I mean? We're so quick to cash out. And I gotta respect Floyd. I mean, I gotta respect Floyd. You know what I mean? I don't respect Al Heyman, but that's a totally other story.
We got to talk about Al Heyman. We got to talk about.
No, but it's some other shit that is. I'll talk to you about that off camera.
Yeah. We got to.
But has nothing to do with him and his business. I respect his business. It's some other shit. Anyway, but no, you gotta respect that, because they were, even in boxing. You know, we can talk about Don King. How many boxers he raped, and you know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson, who is another one of my idols, you know, he talked candidly about how, you know, Don King jerked him over, you know what I mean, several times. Yeah. So we have to be about a communal sense of not only, you know, business, but support. Yeah. We gotta support each other. We gotta support.
It's funny you say that when you talk about Floyd, because I remember when Gucci or somebody, they did something and everybody was like, boycott Gucci, boycott all that, Yeah. And I saw the video with Floyd, and I mean, I don't agree with what he did, but I mean, he can do whatever he wants. You can buy whatever you want, right? Right. But they asked him, they was like, man, the Black community, everybody trying to boycott Gucci and stuff like that, and you out here, you know, spending stacks and stuff in here. What's up with that? Why are you doing that? He's like, look, man, I'm gonna buy what I want to buy. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And you know why? Because when I came out with the Money Team gear, with nobody running out to go buy the Money Team gear, and now you want to tell me how to spend my money and where I could shop. Right. You guys didn't support me when I was trying to do something. So I'm not worried about that. I'm gonna do whatever I want. I wouldn't have done that, but I understand this point. Yeah. Like, he came out with, this line, Money Team Gear. If all the black people that do like him or whatever, y'all should have been out there getting a Money Team shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like keeping that in. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Right.
But like I understand, like as somebody who puts something out, like I understand what he's saying. I wouldn't have done it that way, but I get it. I get where he's coming from with something like that.
No, I mean, absolutely. You know what I mean? I definitely understand where he's coming from. But touching on the Gucci thing, I think, again, finding the silver lining, I don't fuck with Gucci. I would never buy Gucci. Even if I had Gucci money, I'm still not fucking with it. But I appreciate them for giving Dapper Dan his proper respect and position finally after all these years, of stealing, his designs and pawning them off as their own. They gave him a seat at the table finally because of that backlash.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there are, little wins and losses, but I'm all about, building the wealth in our communities, black wealth, black businesses, because they're out there. Like black businesses are out there, and that's why I really salute them for creating that app, because we need
that was dope.
More resources to seek it out. You know, because unfortunately our businesses are thoroughly underfunded and a lot of times overlooked. Yeah. So
that's what's so dope about it is, like I know me personally, if I could buy something black every day, I would do it, but I don't know where it's at all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why that app is so dope.
Yeah, like remember whenever the blackout day was when you could only buy, black, like a friend of mine was like, yo, he said the same thing. He's like, man, I gotta go get some gas, but I don't know any black gas stations. You know what I mean? I don't know where to get this. I don't know, So we need that. We need those resources. Absolutely. And it's coming. I feel like it's a totally new wave. It's a paradigm shift. It's a shift in mentality. And I see a lot of great things for black entrepreneurs, because something else Nip said was that giants are gonna crumble. A lot of big businesses, a lot of business models that were the norm, that were the standard, are going to erode and die off. Right. And we're going to create the new norm. Yeah. Because we have so much power now. The barrier of entry is eviscerated, to quote my man, Casey Powell, who I just had on. But we have no excuses. Right. Everything is right at our fingertips now. Anything, like how we were talking at the vote shoot, like how you were saying, you'd be up working on something, you know what I mean, and wondering if it was worth it to you to do it. And I was going through the same thing, but it is, because you got to start somewhere. It's just about getting that support and getting that visibility so that it's not in vain. And that's a lot of times what happens, and people get discouraged. Like I lost count of how many people who have come to me like, yo, how do I get on? How do I do this? And I'm just like, you got to be consistent. But you can't lose faith either, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough trying to find support from your own people, because everybody want a discount, or your prices are too high, or some excuse as to why your own black people can't support you. It's a steep curve sometimes. And then other times it hits. But no matter what, consistency is key. And then just the reciprocal support is big.
I saw some one time from Will Smith, man, and it just resonated with me, because I can't remember exactly, but I'm giving you the gist of it. He says something about, like, when you have a dream to do something, it's lonely as hell. Yeah. And he kind of alluded to the fact of, like, you'll get mad because you see, your best friends and your family, like, man, y'all ain't supporting me, da-da-da-da-da. And then he said, you got to realize they don't see what you see. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't see it. So, no, they're not going to look at it the same way. They're not going to support it the same way, because they don't see what you see. Right. You're the only one that sees what you see. And until you kind of, like, push through and make them see it on your level, it's going to be, you're alone. You're going to be alone. Like, that's what it is. And that's where, like, the hardest part is trying to push through, because you're going to be all alone, and you're like, dang, it's lonely over here, right? And I use that to myself, because I heard that and I was like, he's right. And I had to check myself a little bit, because, I would get mad or get upset because I feel like somebody ain't supporting me the way I would want them to. But he's right. Like, they don't see it the way I see it. So it's kind of hard to ask somebody to blindly just see it exactly. That's not realistic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not everybody's going to see it that way. And you got to be prepared to push through and just bear it and get through it and get to the other side, man. And that resonated with me when he said that, man, for real.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And you speaking on it, I'm just thinking in my head how that's exactly what I went through. Just being a creative person, like just being an artist, excuse me, is a lonely road, because a lot of times it's not taken seriously, especially when you're talking about it from a standpoint of it being like a career path,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So it was really lonely for me for a while as far as just my path, which is a great segue into what I wanted to ask you, because I'm sure your path into, you know, broadcasting and journalism, I know you have a background in it. I know you went to school with it, but I also know you were playing ball.
Yeah.
Cal State Bay Area, right?
Yeah, Cal State East Bay. Yeah.
East Bay.
Shout out to the Pioneers, man. Pioneer Pete, what up?
So tell us, KC, talk about your journey to, you know, where you are now, bro. Tell us about how it all came about. Man,
you look back on it, man, it's a long journey, man. I mean, I was a hooper. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I thought I was gonna be doing. And that's all that mattered. You know what I'm saying? It's playing basketball. And I was good. I worked hard at it. I got good at it. Did a lot of great things. And I got done with college. I was trying to go overseas, and that was a whole thing in itself, you know, trying to get hooked up with the right people. So I was trying to do that for a long time. I'd say, I probably was like 26, 27 before I was like, it's probably not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen that way. And then I got into training, and, you know, I train to this day. I love being around the game. I love the culture of basketball. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still involved with it. But along the way, you know, I would, you know, and I know it might not seem like it, but I'm pretty shy, but I would find my voice when I would talk about sports, right? And I'd be talking with coworkers and friends about sports, and, you know, I would consume it a lot. I'm always listening to sports radio and watching the stuff, and I would see stuff. And this is when podcasts kind of first started coming out. YouTube was really popping off. I was like, let me make a little 8-minute something on the Kings or on this boxing match or on the Giants, and let me just talk about it. And I would do that and put it up on YouTube. I didn't know nothing about getting views and likes and all that. I just knew that I had something to say and I wanted people to hear it. That was like kind of the biggest thing for me. I just wanted people to hear it. And I would do that, and that turned into a podcast, and that turned into, you know, getting on the radio a couple times, you know, with my people in the Bay Area. Shout out to Murph and Mac, and just looking at different people. And I'm like, man, I wish I could get up every day and just talk about sports. Like, that would be dope. You know what I'm saying? If that was my job, that would be dope. And I was like, well, maybe I can do it. And then podcasts started popping off, and I started doing that, making more connections. And man, a lot of it, to be honest with you, Don, a lot of it is a blur, man, because I was just so focused on, all right, I'm doing this, and finding different ways to stand out and to be creative and get my voice out there. You know, next thing I know, I'm meeting this person, and this person kind of likes my podcast, and they heard me on the radio. And then, you know, I'm listening to Damien, you know, during the day. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm talking to Damien. I didn't even know he knew me. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, man, you should do a podcast over here. And then, you know, my guy Bonte Hill out in the Bay Area, on 95.7 The Game, he knew a guy that was about to be the program director in 1320. And he dropped a line. He's like, look, man, I had met him a couple of times, been on his show and stuff like that. And he's a good brother. He understood what it could be like trying to get into business. And he's like, look, man, this is happening. Here's the guy's number. I already talked to him about you. Hit him up. Be like, I know Bonte. He said something might be going down. I just want to introduce myself. Do that. Did that. I think he kind of already had an idea for what he wanted to do with the show. But when he gave me an interview, whether it was a courtesy interview or not, I looked at it as an opportunity. And I was like, I'm gonna blow the doors off this motherfucker when I get this interview, and I did. I killed it. You know what I'm saying? I spoke from the heart, and I was like, I felt like everything had built up to this moment, and I was gonna take advantage of it. And a funny story is the show was supposed to be just Damien, and I can respect that because Damien's got experience in it. I didn't have a sports radio show like that on that level, so I understood that, but did so good at the interview, man. He's like, I got an idea, man. I think this guy would be good to go with you. And luckily Damien was open to it and he was down with it and embraced it. And man, and I'm here. I'm kind of living a dream a little bit, man. I thought about being on the radio for as long as I can remember, man. And now I got this opportunity. So that's dope. And the crazy thing about it, I know you feel the same way because, you know, you got shirts everywhere. You got somebody like Fab hitting you up for shirts and everything. And it's dope. But it's like, all right, what's next?
What's next?
You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm on the show.
Yeah, man.
What do I do now to set new goals? Where do I want to be? How do I want to go about this, man? And that's kind of where my mind is now, like trying to figure out what the next challenge is. Make this as hot as it can be, you know, make this be the #1 show in Sacramento, and then figure out what I could do after that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yo, man, I love it, man.
Cool. It's a cool journey, man.
I love it, bro, and much respect and congrats to you.
Thank you, brother.
Because what you did was you spoke your dreams into reality. They manifested, you know, because I'm a true believer in you speak into existence what you want.
Yeah.
And what comes out of your mouth is what resonates in real life. And you set a goal for yourself.
Yeah.
And you work towards it. And there's so much power and making your dreams the #1 thing that you think about and project into, you know, your space, into your reality.
Yeah.
And it's a really simple concept. It sounds cliche, but you know.
But you know what, Don? You know what? I feel like it scares a lot of people because sometimes saying it scares me. It scares me, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I say this stuff about. You know, people ask me now, I've heard a couple of people ask me, they're like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with this? What's your goal here? And I say, man, I want to be the preeminent sports figure for the city of Sacramento. And I don't mean that as no disrespect to anybody. I don't mean that to say that can't nobody else be thought of when you come to Sacramento, but I want to be the guy. I want to be somebody in the Bay Area is thinking about Sacramento, they thinking about Kenny Caraway, or in New York and Chicago, LA, they say, oh, that's where Kenny Caraway from. I want to be that guy. And to like say that, this shit is scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, man, like, do I really want that smoke? You know what I'm saying? Right. And then you want to sound, you know, I don't want to, you know, dismiss even somebody like Damien. I don't want to sound disrespectful to Damien to say I want to be the guy. You know what I'm saying? But I would understand somebody that's like-minded like him. He understands what I'm saying, and anybody else would. And you know, you got to get through all that to like say it, like say that this is what I want. You know what I'm saying? And then try to make that a reality. And sometimes that's too much for people, and I can understand why it would be. It's not for me, but it didn't take years of like kind of training yourself to be okay with saying that to get to that point, man.
1,000%. It's mental exercise, bro. It's mental exercise that is, you know, spawned from having like supreme confidence in yourself. You know, even though that's not to say that it doesn't come with an intense amount of fear, because it does, but there's a yin and yang to everything. And if your confidence and your belief and your faith, or whatever you want to call it, in yourself is, you know, solid enough, you're going to see it through. You know, I don't want to keep bringing Nip up, but the interview where he talks about, he goes through every emotion like we were talking about. It's so true, because you go through the whole gamut, and a lot of times people just ain't built for it. You know, because you can talk it, but you got to put it into action too. And I love when we find our wealth. There's a Nas song. I'm a huge Nas fan.
Yeah, man.
He's got a song called "Find Your Wealth." It's like one of those, like, you know, kind of rare B-side Nas joints.
Yeah.
But it's something that, you know, it just really resonated with me, because I don't think we go through life without finding our wealth a lot of times. You know, and you could be the sports figure for the whole, Northern California if
Right.
that's what you wanted to do,
Right.
you know, and you determine your value and your wealth, but you
Mm-hmm.
gotta find it.
Yeah.
And you found it thus far. Is nothing
Yeah.
stopping you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
You went from point A to point B, and you fueled your dreams and your goals. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's so inspiring to see that. You
Yeah.
know what I
Thank you.
mean? And you answered my next question, because I was going to comment on, how hard you out here working, man. You on 3 shows, D-Lo and Casey. You
12 to 2.
got
Check us out, man. 12 to 2, man.
bro.
Radio.com, all that stuff, man. Check us out.
Radio.com app, absolutely, man. And
Yeah.
then you on 97.5 KC's
Yeah.
Corner. And
Yeah.
that's crazy too, because I had been rocking with you since I came to SAC in
Yeah.
2015 or 2016. Around that time, I was just flipping through, all right, what black stations, where the black stations at?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I landed on 97.5 because I love old school. They
Yeah.
might have been playing some Jeffrey Osborne or something at the
They
time.
got
I
it
was like,
all,
oh,
man. They
okay.
got it all.
Here we go. And they be playing some rare joints on there too, some gems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm rocking with this. And then, I would always just happen to jump in the car and, go somewhere and your show would be on, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I was like, damn, when I heard the first episode of D-Lo Casey, it's like, oh, his voice sounds hella familiar. I was like, where I know this dude from? I'm like, oh man, that's homie. He's out. You out here working, bro. Like,
Yeah, man.
my man is out here working. So
I appreciate it, man. I'm
your
trying,
work
man.
ethic, absolutely, and just about not being complacent. Like, you get to a plateau, but I feel like there's no ceiling. There's no cap. Like, you can go as far as you want to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, between the 3 shows and just your overall, work ethic, it's like what you're doing is so inspiring, because you're living proof that way of thinking works.
Yeah.
And I heard you when you were on Do Some Mo, when you said the same thing about wanting to be, Sacramento's guy.
Yeah.
And go for it, bro. Like, why not? Like, the only thing that's stopping you is you. That's what I tell anybody who comes to me like, yo, how can I do this? How can I do that? What do I got to do? Like, decide what you want, have a plan, and understand that the biggest obstacle is you.
Absolutely.
Keep going. So,
absolutely.
Bro,
no, I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro.
And it's weird, and it's funny too, man, because we talk about and it's, man, just the talk, man, it gives me chills, it gives me goosebumps, like the conversation that we have. And I'm not even gassing you, it's like real talk. But and I love it, and I know you're gonna feel me on this one too, because I am working so hard, you're working so hard. But as I do this, I'm in the room and I see my beautiful fiance and my son, they're just asleep right here, man. And I always got to kind of check myself and be like, don't work to the point where you miss, the people that, that really matter. You know what I'm saying? And, my son's getting older, and, he's getting older, and I feel like I just brought you home from the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, it's a tough balance, because I got to work. I got to make sure I'm taking care of everything I can for them, and then make sure he's got a great life. And, my wife is, I do everything I can for her. But I also, I don't want to miss no time, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to miss, and the pandemic has shown us that too. Everything that's going on, like, you got sons too, man. Like, I do basketball training, and I train these kids, all over the city all the time or whatever. And I got to kind of check myself sometimes. It's like, make sure I'm training my son too. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he wants work, if he wants the attention, he should be the first one to get it.
Right.
So, guys like ourselves, we work so hard and we do so much. But I think you probably feel me on this too, where you got to make sure you make time for your family, man, and find a way. For me finding a way is, I just get to work late at night. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you hit me up, he's like, hey man, can we go at 9:40? I'm up anyway, man. That's even better, because I hang out with them till they go to sleep. They go to sleep early. I'll be the one up late till like 12, 1 o'clock. So it's all good for me. This one I get to work in, so it's good.
I can absolutely relate, my brother. Absolutely. I got 3. And they consume all
It's
of
a
my
full
time.
house, man.
It's a full house, and I'm home. Like, I'm so, grateful to be able to work from home, but that I still struggle with the same thing. I'm like, am I spending enough time with them? Like, they're trying to, come hang out. They want to sit on my lap, ask me what I'm doing.
Right.
And a lot of times, like, y'all gotta work, guys. We're gonna hang out when daddy's done.
Yeah.
I gotta get this done. It's like, sometimes I gotta get tunnel vision, but like you said, sometimes you gotta fall back. Like, no, wait a minute. Like, my kids, I feel like I just brought my twins home from the hospital.
Yeah, man,
they just turned 4.
It's crazy, man.
And I'm just like, where's the time going? You know what I mean? And I'm here with them every day. And there's something to be said for that, because a lot of kids don't deal with that. Some kids don't even have their father in the household, period.
Right.
So, I gotta put things in perspective, but I'm learning that for brothers like you and I, when we're on this grind, when we're trying to come up, when we're trying to, reach our goals and our dreams, who are we doing it for? We're doing it for them. You know what I mean? So for anyone who has ever walked this earth and who was great at something, there was some sacrifice involved. However, you have to know when to pull out. It's like Dave Chappelle, when he was doing the show, he knew when, he had to get out of there. Yeah. And then he talked, like, after he came back from Africa, the first thing he wanted to do was be with his family. But what Dave Chappelle did was he built a foundation to where he didn't have to go and slave for, Comedy Central. He could start just doing shows at his leisure because his value.
Get back to what you talk about.
His
wealth.
Value,
he found his wealth.
He found his wealth.
Yeah.
So there is a certain level of work that has to be put in, but we have to set it up. It's like stocks. It's like residual income. Our value has to get to the point where, all right, I pay my dues. It's time. I'm gonna get mine now. I'm gonna work less, make more, and invest in my family and raise your seeds and help them flourish, because it's so many things that are happening at once, because, I'm sure you feel the same way. You want to leave your son something. Yeah. That's another thing that we as Black people, I mean, a lot of us are first generation, college graduates or business owners or just being financially stable. We don't come from wealth. Right. Traditionally in America, we come from poverty. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we don't get a chance to leave a legacy. We don't get a chance to leave an inheritance or just some security, a business, something, real estate, anything, and that's got to be the mentality. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, my bad. But you just hit on something for me, because, we were fortunate enough, me and my fiance, we was fortunate enough to buy a house over the summer. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, congrats, man.
And that's like the first thing that, I told her and I told him. I said, I don't care what happens. We ain't never selling this house. Period. Nice. Never selling it. Yeah. You're gonna get it. Your kids are gonna get it. Whatever you guys do, we ain't never selling this house, period. And that's what happens in the other communities, in the white communities and stuff like that. Them houses, they just get passed down, or they use that money to get other, whatever. We need something in our community, in our house, where it's just like that. And I joke with them all the time, like it's a movie, like Sofa. I was like, we ain't never selling Big Mama's house, period. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's when you talk about leaving something, those are the kind of things that can last for literally generations.
Generations. And it's the cornerstone, like real estate especially, is the cornerstone of wealth. You touched on it earlier, but it's something that I just didn't understand the concept. I never wanted to buy a house until I had kids. I wanted to be able to, bounce around and go, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't buying no house.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Condo somewhere.
Yeah. Like I never, it's
never, right?
When I say it and think about it, it's actually kind of sad because I actually can't. Like my mom bought a house, so it's not like
my mother did too.
Yeah, it's not like I didn't know, but it never crossed my mind to be like, all right, I'm gonna buy a house. Like I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
and that's crazy to think that, but no, I never thought.
But that's because it's not ingrained in us the way it is in other cultures. It's just because we come from a mentality of lack when we have the most resources, and just it's like I'm a big Malcolm X. I just love Malcolm X, and Malcolm X is like trendy now. Right. I've been loving Malcolm X, idolizing him since I was a little kid. Because we watched Malcolm X, Spike Lee, Malcolm X,
man, one of the greats
growing up, greatest, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But it made me really, it made me understand something. It's about finding your wealth again. It's about knowing what you're capable of, but making that like the norm and passing it on. Because again, we traditionally don't come from anything. So. Now that you're in a position, you have a home, you own a home, you have real estate to pass on, and we have to teach too. That's the key. Right. You can't just pass it on and not give them the jewels and the gems to be able to maintain it. Because it's like that proverb, it's easy to get rich, it's hard to maintain it. We gotta maintain it. That's how we pass.
And it's funny you say that because I got a little cousin of mine who he's set up in a nice little way right now. I think he might be 20 or something like that. And he's a good kid. He's working. He's got a cool little job. He's no kids, nothing like that. And like I talked to his mom, and I was like, well, what's he gonna do? And It's like, oh, I think he's gonna move in with such and such. I was like, man, I gotta talk to this dude because he actually set up. Like he actually set up. He's making decent money for his age. And if he had somebody to say, no, bro, save your ducats, stay at home for a little while. Like your mom's like, stay here.
Right.
Pick her up on it, bro, because you're going to be paying a mortgage or rent forever. So if you got 2 years out of the rest of your life where your mom's like, just stay here and stack your money, do that. And then with your job and everything, you going to have the money to put something down on the house, bro, at like 22, 23 years old. And I feel like he's just, the same thing as us. It's not there. It's not ingrained in his head to think that way. And that's where guys like myself and yourself come in and say, no, bro, this is how you do it. Because I ain't had nobody tell me this is how you do it. Now I know I got to teach the young homies this is how we should make the move.
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of where we got to get to, back to our whole original discussion within the community, man. We got to be able to, get these guys free game and put them on the game, man. That's
1,000%, bro, because that is how we gain economic foothold in this country. Again, real estate, that's a cornerstone. That is an integral part of wealth creation. And it's something that's never going away. People are always going to need homes.
Absolutely.
However, how many, Black people just in California, just in Northern California, with everything, the housing crisis that's going on in Oakland, all these Black people on the street, all these people just put out, all this gentrification is going on. We need to get in on that. We need to buy back our communities and then educate each one, teach one. That's how the change starts to happen. And it's very much a mindset. It's very much a way of thinking. And, these are things that aren't taught in schools. I mean, they're not teaching us about how to manage real estate and how to, invest in stocks and just invest, period. Those are the things that, if they're not teaching in this school, we need to take it upon ourselves to teach that within our families. You got to teach your son money management. I got to teach my son's money management. And I'm trying to figure out a way that they can, kind of grasp it because it wasn't taught to me. You know what I mean? And I wish I had managed my funds and my credit and, the whole nine differently because I'd be in such a better position right now. Because right now, one of my goals is I'm trying to open a shop in a studio in the Sacramento area that can facilitate, you know, other businesses and like, you know, merch businesses or companies. But I feel like I don't have the capital or the means to get the capital to do what I really want to do without like, you know, going to individual investors. I can't go to the bank, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to rebuild my credit. But that comes from a lack. That comes from a lack of knowledge. That comes from, you know, a lack of guidance. And I don't fault anybody. I don't fault my parents for it or anybody. It's just the way it is in our communities, unfortunately. And I'm not even going, like, I actually came from, you know, Black folks who was doing okay, you know, in the 80s and the 70s, but it wasn't enough knowledge passed on. And, you know, not to put my family's personal business out there, but we weren't able to maintain it. You know what I mean? My grandfather amassed a small fortune in his life, but he died pretty much penniless. You know what I'm saying? And that's too common in our communities. That's why we still are like, you know, falling behind. We you know, last ones in the race. So and by race, I mean the money race, the rat race, you know what I mean? And we need to be much further along than we are. And it takes, you know, entrepreneurs like ourselves who have sons and daughters and nieces and nephews and brothers and sisters. You know, shout out to my brother who's getting really into real estate, and I'm trying to help, you know, facilitate that. But these are the things that are just so crucial, man.
Yeah, man. And we still trying to, I know, at least for me personally, I mean, I may talk as if I got it all figured out. Far from it, man. You know, I'm still learning every day. You know what I'm saying? There's things that, you know, come across me like, dang, I didn't know that. Or
forward though, bro.
Better, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, just I'm trying to teach you what I know and learn at the same time, man, because there's so much more that I got to learn. You know what I mean?
There's always room for improvement, but as long as you're moving forward and you're moving forward with good intentions and you following your passions and, you know, you're doing something like you're in a great position, bro. And, you know, another thing that I really wanted to ask you is how important it is to have a platform like the platform you and Damien have. Or just being, you know, you're on 3 different shows. You have 3 different situations and 3 different opportunities to reach, you know, the masses pretty much. And the power that, you know, that comes with that, you know, that is encompassed in being able to sit in front of a mic, record yourself and putting it out to the world, you know. I personally feel like it's really powerful, and it's something that I didn't realize until I got into this podcasting thing. You know, I feel like I say it all the time, but I'm just still kind of in awe of how far this thing could go. And I'm on like the lowest tier, you know.
Big, bro, I'm telling you.
But with what you have, speak on, you know, the importance of having a platform like you do.
Man, it's super important to me. To have this platform and use it the right way, simply because I feel like there isn't representation like myself and Damien out here. You know what I'm saying? And that matters. Somebody, I forgot where I was listening. It's not the only person, but you can tell somebody that they can be something as much as you want, but sometimes until they see it, until they actually live it, it's just a dream, you know what I'm saying? It's not reality. And, you know, I can tell somebody like, yo, your voice matters out here, or, you know, whatever. And then, you know, you get an opportunity and there's people out here, but until they actually see it or hear it, it's not going to register. You know what I mean? So I look at it as the things that we're able to do, being on the radio, speaking every day, the way that we do, you know, as freely as we are, and a little different than maybe what you would hear anywhere else. That matters to me, man. That matters because there's a whole section, there's a whole demographic of people that I feel aren't represented and don't feel like their opinions or the way they go about it. We're just talking about sports. We're not curing cancer or nothing like that. But I know me personally, because I'm a consumer. I've been a consumer, and I'm like, man, this is why. Like, they don't have nobody talking like I talk to my homies. You know what I'm saying? They don't have nobody that can relate to how I am. You know what I'm saying? So it's whack. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing for me. And to be in a position now where I can say, hey, there's something for you. There's some, you know, even me, I don't listen to shows just like how I talk. I listen to other shows. I hear other people's point of view and their experiences and the way they go about life. So it's really important for me to use that in that aspect. And I get that a lot with the 1320 and with J Street Vibes. Now, the other reason on 97.5, the origins of that was I look back on our community and I felt like there was a divide, kind of once bringing it all back, between the older community and the younger community. And I don't know if I'm necessarily the younger community anymore, but I'm close to it. You know, I can still touch it.
You're the middle child.
Yeah, middle child, exactly, right? And maybe I'm just being paranoid, but I feel like a lot of times the older community just looks at, you know, us and the younger community as knuckleheads, and we listen to this rap that talk about crazy stuff, and you know what I'm saying? Like they don't. There's a disconnect. Like I want them to embrace us more, right? And I looked at that show that I do on there, and I just looked at it as like, look, I'm younger, because I know that audience that on that station skews older, right? Older and Black. And I wanted to be able to talk to them like, look, I'm a younger cat. I got my head on straight. I'm doing something positive. I know I'm bringing other people on this show that are like-minded with me, and they're telling their experiences. Like, we're out here. Like, we're not just all knuckleheads. Don't like, and if you talk to us, we'll listen to you. Come talk to us. Come, let's get together. You know what I'm saying?
You bridging the gap, bro. And
that's what I was trying to do with that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, and when I got, and shout out to, you know, my people at Intercom and the program director, Danny, because when I got this at 1320, you know, I wanted to be straight up. I was like, man, I got this thing going on. It's community radio, so it's not a competitor, but would it be okay if I still did it? If I still put my podcast, allowed them to play it? And, you know, he was like, good. And it meant something to me because, like I said, that was something different, man. That was something for our community that I wanted to, like you said, bridge that gap and make sure, like, oh, okay, well, he sounds cool. He sounds educated. Like okay, well, yeah, maybe it's not all bad. You know, maybe when I see somebody next time, like, maybe they talk like KC and we can have a conversation. And, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't know, maybe I was just being paranoid, but I felt that it was a divide there. And I just kind of wanted to do whatever I could with my platform to be able to, you know, help bridge that a little bit. That's kind of where that one came from.
That's huge, man. That's huge. And that's actually, the generational divide is a real thing. And it's all, for me, it's all about understanding, whether it be internally, you know, any divisions we might have amongst each other as Black people, which we have always had in this country. Unfortunately, it's a symptom of slavery, but something we still deal with, you know, or the divide between us and the rest of the world, you know what I mean? Because like Damien was saying, when we did our podcast, you know, he was talking about how pretty much ESPN, for lack of a better word, it was really whitewashed, you know, and he saw it as an opportunity to inject some culture, some, you know, some new voices, young voices, Black voices, which is much needed, because we deserve a shot too. I hate to say a seat at the table, but I mean, that's essentially what it is, because we have been denied one. Now, certain people go to certain desperate lengths to try to get that seat at the table, but this is not one of them. And even, you know, a show like what you have, it opens the door, you know, for more. It opens the door to explore new, creative, young, Black ideas and perspectives, especially right now. Like, that's so important to break down barriers, and that's what y'all did. Like, y'all are the first Black show on that station, correct? That's Black history, bro.
Man, that's crazy, man.
Y'all are making Black history right now.
Crazy to hear you say that like that.
But it's true.
I never even thought about it, but
it's true. Making Black history. You're the first Black show on ESPN. It ain't no local station. It's ESPN, and we know what type of, you know, with Jamel Hill and what they've been going through, you know what I mean?
That's facts.
Making Black history, bro.
Man, that's crazy to hear you say that, man. And I appreciate that. And, you know, it also came from another place too as well, because you, like myself, you've lived in other places and you see how Black communities are in other places.
Mm-hmm.
And Sacramento means so much to me because that's my home. And it's not as together as it should be. It's not beef. Like, I think, Black people in South Sac and Black people in Rancho Cordova, if they ever cross paths, it's all love. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
But we don't ever cross paths. Like, we don't ever come together. And I looked at this radio show and I looked at some of the things that we have planned and the BEHEARD platform as a way to bring the Black community in this city together, because it's just not what it should be, in my opinion. It could be so much better. You know what I'm saying? And it's nobody's fault. It's just because that's kind of the layout of the land, the way it is out here. But I think it's time to change that, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, whether it's Donna's Dope pop-up shop and we all come there and we're broadcasting live, and this person is doing a taco truck or something like, bro. And everybody know, like, oh, okay, this is where it's at. People in Rancho come out here, people in the Thomas come out here, in South Sac, y'all come out, like, let's get together, like, let's be together at the same place. There's so many times in this city where the Black community is just we're not together. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no place to go to. And man, I'd love to create that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd love to at least help create it. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, and see, just you saying that is just, it's like, wow, it's eye-opening, because I don't know, I guess I would have never suspected that, because I get, like, and I have a pretty good lay of the land in Sacramento, because I've lived a couple different places out here. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've been all over, Yeah. But I guess I never even thought about, because what I feel like is Sacramento, I think you said it, somebody said it, that, it's like a big small town, Mm-hmm. Even though it's the capital city, it's still got like a small town feel, and it's a good place to raise your family. That's what I love about it. Yeah. But I also feel like it's ripe for so many things. Yeah. The businesses we've touched on, the community aspect as a whole, but then when you really focus on the Black community coming together, mm-hmm. that's a whole other thing that there's even more of a sense of urgency for, because it speaks to the larger problem of us just not being together, period. Yeah. So I absolutely encourage you to continue to be, a voice and a catalyst for that, because that's where we find our strength. That's when we link. I wouldn't have, if I never came out to the joint, to the video for the vote campaign, we would have never linked like that and spoke. You know what I mean? And that's just how you build. That's how you build. And what you just described, like the pop-up, bro, I've been conceptualizing and fantasizing and thinking about something like that. And now I feel like more of the right components are in place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because what I want to do with my brand is inspire. I'm not just trying to sell people merch. That's why I have the podcast, because I want to, talk to young kids. I want to talk to young entrepreneurs. I want to, give them tips and guidance wherever I can. Yeah. As Damien, when he first approached me about BEHEARD, I was like, yo, bro, how dope would it be if we set up like a big brother, little brother program or something, something like that. Yeah. That brings us together and builds us all up, because ain't nobody else going to do it. Nah, man. We all we got, as cliche as that might be, that's what it is. It's the truth, man. It's the truth.
That's exactly what it is, man. And like I said, somebody told me, I was like, man, it's just Sacramento, man. It's my home, but it's Sacramento. And then somebody said, well, Brooklyn was just Brooklyn until somebody made it Brooklyn, right? You know what I'm saying? So
facts only.
That shit. All right. Well, Sacramento just Sacramento until,
and you know what, bro?
Somebody made it Sacramento.
Yeah, man. I mean, bro, my wife told me this, and I had no idea, but Sacramento apparently is one of the most progressive cities for Black people, young Black people in the entire country. And when she said that, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, yo, Sac could be like a West Coast Atlanta or something. Nice. You know what I mean? Nice. If we bring that kind of attention to it, because like we were speaking on when we first linked up about how like talked down Sacramento was, because there's so many just world-renowned cities right around it, around us, right? But I feel like this place has nothing but potential.
Right.
Nothing but, fertile ground for planting seeds and watching, things blossom and flourish.
Yeah. Nah, and like I said, we talk about the Black community. I remember when I first moved back out here, I had an idea, and we're still gonna do it. I already know we're still gonna do it, whether it's BEHEARD, D-Lo and KC, Don is Dope, everybody, like, it's going to happen. We just got to figure out, well, we got to get through the pandemic first. But once that's done, we're going to make it happen. But I had the idea of something as simple as like an NFL Sunday. If I wanted to be around, let me clarify it, because I don't have no problem being around anybody, right? Yeah. But if I want to be around my people, where would I go? I have no idea, because we don't have nowhere to go, right? Wow. And you think about, I know when I was in LA, they had a place called The Parlor. And obviously it's LA. I'm not saying LA is Sacramento, but they had a place called The Parlor. And you knew NFL Sunday, NBA Finals games, The Parlor is where it's at.
That was the spot.
And you know what kind of vibe you get in there. You're getting young Black people having a good time. It ain't nothing crazy, as far as I know, having a good time, watching the game, socializing, having a good time. Where is that in Sacramento? We don't have it. So I was like, all right, I'm about to create it. Like, this is where we gonna find a restaurant or a bar or something like that. And you're gonna know if there's a football game on, NBA Finals or something like that, this is where everybody gonna be at. And we haven't been able to do it yet, but I'm telling you, we're gonna do it. There's gonna be a spot where everybody knows, like, this is where you go to have a good time, have a good social experience. It's nothing rowdy, nothing crazy. You just go there and socialize and enjoy a good outing. You know what I'm saying? And something like that in the city is what's missing. We don't have no place where we can come together. They're doing some stuff in Oak Park that I really like, with fixins, and then they got the pizza joint and everything. They're doing some really good community stuff out there that I really like. But then you got a whole nother situation where Oak Park is not what Oak Park used to be, right? So we're seeing that type of stuff in Oakland, where the gentrification and stuff like that. So building this stuff in Oak Park, and this ain't the Oak Park that I grew up with, so it's not the same. So it's just a weird dynamic, man.
And Oak Park is historically it's a Black community in Sacramento, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was the hood for a long, and they still got their spots. It's not completely out of it, but you talk about fixins and you talk about that. That stuff was rough, and it got changed up. And I'm gonna speak on something that might be a little controversial. Kevin Johnson, who I ask people all the time how you feel about Kevin Johnson, because he's got some complications to his story, right?
Okay.
And I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel about.
Is that Kevin. Why somebody threw a pie in his face?
That's one of the reasons.
Hey, I was so hyped to come here because Kevin Johnson was the mayor. I was like, yo, KJ the mayor of Sac. Oh, I'm there. Like
KJ, much like the Al Heyman conversation, we're gonna have to have that off the air. But KJ's complicated, whereas he's got some weird stuff on his resume. But when you talk about buy back the block, KJ did it first.
Okay.
KJ from Oak Park, and he bought back the motherfucking block, bro. Absolutely. He bought it back. He put the bookstore there. He put the Starbucks there. He put the barbershop there. He put the restaurant there.
He put fixins. That's his, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it all there. He bought back the block. And this is the stuff that we just talked about we need to do. He did that.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, Damien will tell you, I hadn't got into it with him yet, but he's like, oh, I don't know about KJ. Like, that's how people are here. He's not gonna really smell those roses. But KJ brought back the block, man. And that's in a lot of ways, to me, to be honest with you, I'm just speaking for myself. I mean, that's got to be celebrated a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's got to be celebrated. 100%. Like I said, he's done some stuff that maybe I know for a fact that I wouldn't co-sign by no means. But what he was able to do there and what he's continuing to do, I mean, I'm not going to act like he's not doing that.
Right. Right.
I can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think, like, we got to celebrate the wins as much as we hold, people accountable for the losses or for the, for the falls or whatever have you. But I'm always at a mindset of, none of us are perfect, even if, people try to, put up that facade, there's nobody who's perfect. There's no perfect people. Right. And if you, in my estimation, it's going back to the Ice Cube thing. It's like, I'm all about intentions. Yeah. What are your intentions? Yeah. We can rattle off a lot of names of, stars in our communities who have quote unquote fallen. And, that's all up for interpretation. But if there's some sort of positive, there's some sort of light from this person who had a platform or resources, you gotta give them some credit. It's like Kanye West, right? I mean, since Kanye dropped, I was the biggest Kanye fan. Like before, the DopeOnes and all of this, I wanted to make beats. There was even a time I wanted to rap. I got a mixtape out. That's a whole other podcast.
We got to put that back out, bro. That's
a whole other podcast. It ain't bad either. I'm not. You gotta hear it, man.
Come on, stop playing with us.
But Kanye, despite all his flaws, he's done some good things. He's done some positive things.
Yes. Yeah. Complicated dude, man.
Complicated.
Because these things where I just don't ride with him. Absolutely. And I'm not really feeling with him right now.
Me neither.
But he'll do stuff where it's like,
yes. It's dumb. Even if it's something like, going to the prisons and performing. Mm-hmm. Or, even though he had to cozy up with Trump, and I don't know where he stands now trying to run for president, but
that's crazy.
They exonerated, I can't remember her name, but
him and
Kim Kardashian. We do have to praise, our own when things are good. And I feel like I've heard different things about KJ. I don't know the depths to which, he got checkered past or whatever, but I do know, like, he helped bring the Golden One.
He saved the team. He saved the team, and in a lot of ways, he saved the city. Like,
that's huge. That's huge.
City would not.
You can't gloss over that. You know what I'm saying? You can't. And that's, again, the financial footing. That's how a city thrives. Yeah. Like, imagine if the Kings, was sold to, I don't know, Vegas or San Diego.
They was on their way to Seattle, man.
Seattle, that's right. I knew it was something.
His relationship with David Stern is why the Kings are here. And I don't think nobody ever takes that away from them. You know what I'm saying? We all know what it is. If KJ wasn't the mayor, Kings are gone.
Kings are gone.
It's not even a question.
That statement in and of itself is huge.
Yeah. And there's no Golden One Center. There's no DoCo. And I read things all the time in the paper about what they're trying to do in downtown, and they're building up downtown, and they're going to put the soccer stadium, the rail yards, like 5-10 years from now, downtown Sacramento's going to look like
totally different.
Oakland or something like that. Oh, downtown. It's going to look like that. And I firmly believe none of that's possible without KJ. Like, if the Kings are gone, there's nothing. People can say what they want. There's nothing to build here if the Kings aren't here. Yeah. So, he's got to get his props for that.
I didn't know the extent to which, he made those pushes, and that, like, you can't. How could you not give him credit for that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, it's crazy though, because I'm a huge 90s basketball fan.
Okay.
I find myself somehow, some way getting on the topic of 90s basketball.
Now we talking.
I just did it with my man Casey, who's the host of Knicks Fan TV.
Yeah. I saw. Shout out to Knicks, man.
That's my guy. We went to Hampton. We went to Hampton together way back. Yeah, man, there's nothing like 90s basketball. We know KJ versus MJ. 93 finals,
on NBC, man. Come on,
now. Man.
It was just special.
Just I guess the allure of that, somebody who, I was familiar with and kind of idolized, like, every 90s basketball player, I was like, oh wow, it's dope. Kevin Johnson, the mayor, he must be doing some dope shit in Sacramento. Yeah. That was definitely a draw for me. Just that alone. I had no idea what his political background or history was. Right. To hear that, in spite of whatever he might have done, I mean, like that, and it's like you said too earlier. You said earlier about just seeing someone in a position that previously you could tell somebody they could be mayor of Sacramento who's from Oak Park. You could tell a kid from, you know, any inner city in the country that they could be president.
Right.
They didn't see the reality of it till we actually had a black president.
Right.
Just this symbol of what heights you can ascend to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And even from like the things that he's done wrong that has him, you know, his name being mud in a lot of people's eyes. I feel like people can learn from that.
Yeah.
Like, look, man, as much as they, you know,
or
try to say I love you or whatever, like if you mess up, like it'll go away quick. They ain't loving you no more.
Yeah.
So be on your P's and Q's, do the right things. You know, he didn't always make the best decisions. So in that respect, don't be like KJ.
Right. But then exactly. You see what a person does wrong, and then the next person steps in and can, you know, improve on where his faults were.
That's right.
So, you know, shout out to KJ, man. Shout out to KJ for saving the Sacramento Kings, which is a staple in, you know, this community, in this city, and
like I said, what he did in Oak Park, I shout him out for that. And
shout out to
somebody else. We need somebody else to come out there and take the torch from him and take it to another level.
Keep going.
You know, whether it's Oak Park, whether it's South Sac, whether it's the Heights. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody, let's work on doing the same.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. And I mean, just thinking of the gravity of that statement, like the Sacramento Kings as an organization, you know, they were a solid team in the 2000s, early 2000s.
It was crazy out here.
Late 90s, man. Like I can only imagine, bro. Like when they were like, you know, championship contenders, you know, going up against the Lakers, like the California, you know, rivalries. I can imagine, bro. Who I know you have a lot of memories about that growing up and now working with the Kings, I'm sure is just dope.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Who would you say is who's your favorite king of all time?
My favorite king of all I've thought about this numerous times. So I think at the end of the day, my favorite king of all time is Chris Webber, right? Okay. But Mitch Richmond is right there. DeMarcus Cousins is right there.
Okay.
And I just kind of waffle between those three. I just don't know. Like there's a whole bunch of other different dynamics that go into it. Like Chris don't never really come back here. And we're very territorial about that, right? Because we don't have a lot. So if you're not showing us love, we see it and we're not feeling it. But Chris still gets love here. He gets love here. We just wish he would embrace us a little bit more. Mitch, it was glad to see him come back. Cuz loved Sacramento, so we loved DeMarcus Cousins. Like we loved him because he loved Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But I'm gonna tell you the wild card, man. Jason Williams.
White chocolate.
My gosh, 55.
White chocolate.
That 55 Black Kings jersey.
Yeah.
Is an all-timer. I think that's a bigger selling jersey than Weber's.
I have one. I have a Jason Williams.
Come on, man. 50 Jason Williams. And that's the one guy. I don't think it's beef. I don't really know what the issue is, but he won't come back here. Like he don't come back this time. Yeah. And I don't really know what it is because he don't speak ill of the franchise or the city. Like I don't think he has no beef, but he just don't come back here. And we would love for Jason to come back. Like because what he did when he was here, more than anything, I mean, the team got good or whatever, but he put us on the map. Like the things
that excitement,
night out, he put us on the map.
Yeah,
and I love Jason Williams. I love Jay Will.
White Chocolate was a special dude, man. Yeah. In fact, I was a fan of his and Randy Moss at the same time because they came up together. Like I was a Vikings fan just because Randy Moss was so great. And then, how they came up or whatever, and then seeing what Jason Williams was doing. I mean, he was bringing like playground ball to the league, and he was a white boy.
The things he was doing on the court, I tell people all the time, as somebody who played it and do it all, the things he did on the court, in the game, in the NBA is crazy. Like it's crazy. The passes he would make, the way he handled the ball. Like you just don't understand. Like you don't do that stuff in the NBA. Like you just don't, because the guys are so good. You can't do that stuff. and he was doing it like it was nothing. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
he was. He made it look effortless, and that
Yeah,
was
and
crazy.
I just get baffled every time I sit up there and really think about. I see the highlight packages and stuff, and the things he was doing out there. It's crazy. Like Kyrie's my guy right now. I love me some Kyrie Irving, and his handle might be maybe the best handle we've seen in the game. And Kyrie's not even doing the things that Jay Will was doing in those first 2 years, man. Like it's crazy what he's able to do out there.
No, man, Jace Williams, his showmanship was definitely like second to none. Like I can't think of anybody who just from like a fundamental level put so much, style in the game. Maybe at that time, the only other guy was probably Allen Iverson. You know what I mean?
My God, the answer was my
I love AI. He's my second favorite player of all time after Jordan.
But answer was my guy.
Yeah.
But funny thing I heard about Jason Williams is this goes back to like what we talk about with the work. And, he talk about his handles and the way he passed and everything. And he said he would go into a gym and he would just go behind the back passes off the wall for 2 hours.
Wow.
Not take no shots. Not, do all these other drills that people do. Like just behind the back pass, 2 hours, 2 hours. Yeah. So you see, like we see it where it's effortless to him and, he's able to do it with pinpoint accuracy. That's not by accident. That's not just because he was blessed. Like there's a crazy amount of work and a crazy amount of dedication that he did when nobody was looking that he put in. You know what I'm saying? And nothing.
I feel like that's necessary for anyone who gets great at their craft. So I was like, I'm not even surprised. I'm sure it was a combination of natural, ability, but put in the work in. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was alluding to as far as your come up. You've put in the work, you've spoken into existence what you wanted to happen, but you put in the work. It's like, oh man, the quote Denzel has about consistency. He's like, goals without consistency are just dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have the consistency, you gotta have the work ethic.
Yeah.
And when you combine the two, there is nothing that can stop you. I don't care if you from Oak Park or white boy from where's Jason Williams from?
Where was he in West Virginia? I forgot where.
Somewhere
exactly where he was
rural,
from.
some rural small town. You know what I mean? And that's what we have to continue to promote and be about, and that's what the mindset has to be about. And I just, I think what you're doing is amazing, bro. Like,
thank you, man.
Keep going with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are inspiring me a lot. Y'all are giving me incentive to get more serious about this and treating this like a craft and really taking this thing seriously, because I see the power you guys harness with your platforms, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to link up with some really good brothers who are about something positive and, just continuing to grow, man.
Hey, bro, iron sharpens iron, man. That's what it is. Man. Like I've talked to you off air with all this, man, and how much I dig what you're doing with your clothing brand and things of that nature, man. And, I look at it, like I said, iron sharpens iron. You put that circle around and you surround yourself with people that are like-minded and have the same type of mentality and the same type of goals, man. And we all gonna rise together. That's how I look at it personally.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, man. And there's so much value in that, just that communal like brotherhood and just encouraging one another, because it's so easy to tear one another down. So easy to be critical, and again, the crabs in the barrel is still something that plagues us.
Real, man. It's very
real. We got to switch that. And that's why, I tell people all the time, back east, I'm from the East Coast. People ask me, oh man, what's it like in Cali? Like, what are the people like? Blah, blah, blah. What's the culture like? I'm like, I can't speak for all of California. I know in Sacramento, I've linked up with some really genuine, good people. And we think alike. We on the same trajectory. And it's like, it's all love. And I feel at home here.
Yeah.
And, that has a lot to do with linking with you, linking with Damien, linking with, a couple of other people who I've, crossed paths with is dope. And I want to continue, all of this momentum, because I feel like, again, there's no limit to where we can go with all of this,
Yeah, that's love, man. That's love. And that goes back to what we talking about, is finding like some kind of communal hotspot where, because they're out here, we're all out here, you know what I'm saying?
I really want to see
you don't ever come around. But if we can get to a place where, we all can come together, it'll be all love, man.
Like it'd be like a black Cheers or something.
Facts.
Like just something where you could go and it's all good, Yeah, man. And that I see that in the city's future. I've been here for 5 going on 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And before the pandemic hit, before the world changed, myself, my wife even more, we were starting to ingratiate ourselves with the community, because she's from the Bay Area. She's from San Francisco. Mm-hmm. She was doing a lot with local, Black influencers and going to all these different events. And, she was one of only, a handful of brown people at these events. Yeah. But there's growth. There's so much room for growth and expansion, and all of these respective things that we're all into. A lot of ways, nothing but potential.
In a lot of ways, it's a blank canvas right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a blank canvas out here, and I mean, there's, like you said, there's a lot of growth going on within the city. I think George Carl mentioned it. He said Sacramento is a town that's trying to turn into a city, and that's kind of where they're at right now.
Yeah.
They're a big town trying to turn into a city.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's gonna happen. And I just, I want us to be ready for it, to have our space, and, to be able to do the things that we like to do, whether that's socializing or, brainstorming, all that kind of stuff, man. So
yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. My brother, I know it's getting late, man. But real quick, I asked everyone of this, and you dropped, a plethora of gems this evening. But one thing one piece of advice that you would give, someone in your position, say 5-10 years ago, young, entrepreneur, someone with dreams of being in broadcasting or podcasting or even sports, just something, entrepreneurial. What piece of advice would you give them?
Don't stop. Like, that's really the thing that I learned the most about this. Just don't stop. And you've got to love what you're doing, right? Because there's going to be a long time where it's literally going to be just for the love of it. You're not going to get paid. You're not going to get compensated from it. You're just going to be like, man, whether I get paid a dime or whether I get paid or don't get paid anything, you know what I'm saying? Or get paid a fortune. I'd still be doing this, right? I'd still be, for me, it was talking about sports. It's like, whether I get paid or not, I'm going to be talking about sports. And as long as I got a microphone and a computer and the internet, I'm going to put it out there for people to listen to. You know what I'm saying? So you got to love it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't love it, man, it'll get you out of the paint quick. So you got to love what you're doing, and you got to not stop. You got to push through. You got to push through, because like we talked about earlier, it's going to be lonely. It's going to be dark. And you got to be like, nah, I'm going to still go through it, man. I'm going to still go through it. So that's the advice, man. Just don't stop. Like, if you got a dream, if you got something that you're trying to achieve, push through with it, man. See it through. See it all the way through. All the way.
Couldn't agree more, my brother. And that's why I got to keep going.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Campaign. Because honestly, I ask every guest that question, and subconsciously I'm like, are they going to say don't stop? Are they going to say keep going? Because I mean, really, honestly, at the end of the day, like that's just it. Like you cannot stop.
If you know what it's a common theme between people that have, achieved some of their goals. It's a common thing. Like I nobody that has achieved some of their goals is going to be like, man, this kind of came easy. Like it wasn't thing. Like
nobody.
No, there's going to be the dark times, and the ones that actually see it to the other side are the ones that didn't stop. The ones who didn't see it, they're going to be the ones like, I ain't feeling it's a waste of time.
But what's crazy is, because a lot of times I feel like I'm like beating a dead horse, because I feel like I'm just saying that over and over again. Don't stop, keep going. I'm telling everybody that. Anyone who comes within my path and asks me what should they do, that's my first response. But it's crazy how many people are so easily deterred or so easily just discouraged or just, one failure and it's just like, oh nah, I can't do this.
Hey, Don, if it was easy, everybody would be
do it.
You know what I'm saying? It's not easy. It's not easy.
Right about that. It's not easy.
It tests you all the time. It tests you all the time, man. And if you're not built for it, you ain't gonna pass the test. Simple as that.
No lies told, my brother. Well, look, I truly, truly appreciate you, Kenny.
Man, hey, anytime, man. Anytime. I mean it, man. If you, I enjoyed the conversation. Such a real convo, and if there's ever any time, it could be deep or it could be simple. It could be sport. It don't matter, man. Anytime, man, you want to holler, let me know.
I appreciate it because I wanted to touch more on sports too, man. But it just organically
ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Nowhere. We'll get
going nowhere. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I know you're a sports guy, and I wanted to touch on some sports things, but the conversation honestly just organically went where it was supposed to go.
It was too real, bro.
I'm really thankful for you coming on and sharing that with me.
Anytime, man.
My brother.
Anytime,
You're
man.
a king. You inspiring. You inspire people you probably don't even realize. You know what I mean? So.
Likewise. Thank you, brother.
Keep going, my brother. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna catch up to you soon, man. Peace and love.
Yes, sir. One love, bro.
Peace.
All right.